In order to get your children to stop fighting and arguing with each other, they need to have a desire within their own mind that will motivate them to want to get along with their sibling. It can't just be about pleasing mom. It needs to be because they see the benefit of it. So here are some things you can do to help your children overcome the urge to argue with each other and some strategies to handle it when that urge overtakes them. Number 1, talk about reputation. At a time of no conflict, sit down with each of your children individually and talk to them about things that will start to motivate them to change their behavior. First, talk about reputation. Explain that reputation means how you are perceived by others, what others think about you. Ask them to tell you what kind of reputation they wish to have in their life with their siblings and with others. They will likely say they want to have a reputation for being kind and helpful and trustworthy and brave and etc. If they hesitate to talk about it at first, ask them if these are the qualities they want others to see in them. To stir the discussion, you can ask them to describe what each of these qualities means. Number 2, the responsibility of being a sibling. Are they aware that being a sibling comes with the responsibility to care for their brother or sister? If someone were to try to harm their sibling, it would be their responsibility to try to protect them or get help for them as soon as possible. If they're hurting or in need, it is their responsibility to comfort or to fill that need if they're able, and sometimes that means telling a parent what the need is about. Being a brother or sister means something special. Have they been taking that responsibility seriously and doing their duty as a responsible sibling? Number 3, how would their sibling describe them? After you've discussed reputation and responsibility, ask them, if a friend were to ask your brother or sister to describe you, how do you think they would respond? What would they say about your character? Are you a kind person? Do you treat them in a way that would cause them to have good things to say? Then relate that to their reputation. Are they building the reputation they want to have with the people that are closest to them, meaning their siblings? Are they taking on the responsibility of being a good brother or sister? Number 4, how do they want to be remembered? When they are grown up, how do they want to be remembered? If their brother and sister were to be writing a book about them, say, would it be easy for them to describe a person who is helpful, protective, kind? Or would they describe someone who is always contrary, selfish, and mean? How they behave now determines how they will be remembered in the future. Number 5, siblings are forever. Talk to them about how they may feel very close to their friends right now, but the length of the average friendship lasts about 10 years. Do they realize that in 10 years, they will likely have a whole new set of friends? But a sibling is a lifetime relationship. They will always have their siblings as their siblings. That will never change, no matter how those relationships develop. Isn't it wise to make the relationship with a sibling the best it can be if you already know it will last your lifetime? And wouldn't it be awesome if they could make their sibling their friend? In fact, from the time they are very young, tell them that their siblings are their best friends. Just state it as a matter of fact. This will help them in looking at their siblings in the light of that attitude. Number 6, what makes a person feel good? Talk to them about how they feel when they do something kind for someone else. How do they feel? Then, how do they feel when they've done something unkind? When they stop and think about that, they will realize that doing the mean thing makes them feel bad about themselves. And when they do the right thing, they feel good. Help them think about these things because it puts the ideas in their mind that they will have benefits from building up their relationship with their siblings. When they uplift another person, they will feel uplifted themselves. Number 7, what needs to change? Now that you have given them some practical ideas to think about, that should help motivate them within their own mind to have a desire to do better. Ask them if they can think of some things that they could do differently that might help build up their relationship with their brother or sister. Can they find a way to say something kind at least once a day, like compliment them or say something uplifting? Could they do a chore for them as a surprise every so often, or bring them a gift like a small candy or a little trinket of some kind just to be kind and friendly? These are little ways they can start to change the relationship, bring joy to their sibling, and improve their own reputation at the same time. Number 8, role play and strategies. We can't really just talk to them about what they can do. Sometimes it's going to be their sibling who is pushing their buttons and trying to get something going, right? So give them the strategy to handle those kinds of situations by role playing. Make up several scenarios where you will play them and they will play the role of their sibling. Tell them to say something unkind and you're going to show them how to diffuse the situation with how you respond. For example, tell them to say, "You're a dope." Then you respond by saying, "Yes, I am a dope sometimes," and then laugh. "You're so stupid." "Yeah, that kind of was a stupid thing to do, wasn't it?" And laugh. Again, this shows them how to quickly diffuse the situation. By teaching them this skill, they will not only be able to use it with their siblings, but also at other times when dealing with unkind people at school or at work later. Repeat this a few times and then switch roles to train them how to handle it and how agreeing with their adversary quickly diffuses the situation. Tell them if they're able to do this, they will have conquered the argument right from the start. And then if they feel bothered by it, later they can come talk to you about it. This will give you as the parent the opportunity to have a conversation with your sibling about saying unkind things without the big fight that happens at that moment. Another option they can use is to walk away. If for some reason the agree with your adversary quickly strategy isn't appropriate or will not work at that moment, they do have the option to walk away. Tell them this is sometimes the best thing to do. Arguing back or starting to be aggressive in response never ends well and doesn't build the relationship. These kinds of situations with your children can be really aggravating, but try to see it as an opportunity to teach and train your child how to deal with different personalities and understand different strategies to resolve conflicts. Number 9, don't allow any kind of physical altercations. All of what I have said so far is regarding arguing. Fighting, meaning physical aggressiveness, is never acceptable. If a child is acting physically aggressive toward their sibling, that is not to be tolerated regardless of the reason. Any acts of physical aggressive behavior should be dealt with immediately. That would mean they would be physically separated right away, of course. Then once they have calmed down, they need to sit in the same room and talk out what happened. You should be present for this. Give each of them a chance to say what happened and allow them to express their frustrations. Don't allow them to interrupt each other. Each has a turn to talk and a turn to respond. If one child was aggressive toward another, you'll have to definitely express how being physical is never okay. But you also have to understand their sibling may have been antagonizing them on purpose to get a reaction. Both need to be considered. And both need to know what they could have done differently to avoid a physical altercation. Talk about how this could have been solved in a better way and what they should have done to fix it. After this discussion has taken place and each has acknowledged their role in the conflict, tell them you're going to leave the room. Then they will be required to remedy the situation between them and come to you when they have repaired the relationship as much as possible for the moment. Then leave the room. But I suggest you listen at the door for a few minutes if you can to make sure they're both cooperating with that plan. Sometimes one will just not want to do it. If that happens, you can re-enter the room and tell the cooperative one to leave for now. Tell the one who's still not willing to cooperate that they can come to you when they're ready to do the right thing. Once they come to you, have the siblings sit in a room together again until they work it out. Then they can come to you and show you they have reconciled. Until they do, they will not be allowed to do anything else. I would expect my children to come to me and demonstrate they have done it with their demeanor and attitude, and to come to me together. This will teach your children that conflicts must be resolved by talking things out. It will also show them that you will not allow or tolerate physical altercations. And if they do that, they will be required to work it out anyway by talking. If you want to know more about how to deal with siblings fighting and arguing in the car, click on the screen now for practical step-by-step instructions on exactly how to deal with this common dilemma. Parents, you can do this. I hope to see you here next time, and don't forget to subscribe.